Yeah, I said title, man. Let's get to it.
Dwyane Tyrone Wade. This 6'4 shooting guard was famously nicknamed Flash,
Tyrone.
and for good reason, as he was
I never knew his
remarkably
middle name was
dynamic
Tyrone.
and a fast superstar during his prime. But just how good was he really? Some think Wade is a top 3 shooting guard in NBA history, while others think that that's way overblown. Lately, there's been a debate on who's the greater 2 guard, James Harden or Dwyane Wade. So where do I stand on all of this? I vividly remember the ups and downs.
James Harden or Dwyane Wade? Like, come on, bro. In my opinion, I'm going D Wade all the way, all day, man. D Wade got chips. You know what I'm saying? Well, I believe Shaq was on that. I think it was 2006. He won with the Heat before that. Shaq was on that team, but I'm pretty sure in the finals he averaged like 30 or something like that, right? He did his thing, bro. He did his thing. I ain't gonna lie.
Of Wade's career.
Harden,
so I'll do my best
exactly.
to articulate his greatness during his playing days compared to how he's generally perceived in the modern day. So without further ado, let's get into it. Dwyane Wade was selected in the 2003 NBA draft with the 5th overall pick by the Miami Heat. Sure, he was fully expected to be a talented player within the league, but at the time, almost all of the draft hype and excitement was centered around LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony. With that being said, Wade wouldn't take very long to start putting his name on the map. Many people never realized this, but Wade actually played his rookie season as the starting point guard for the Heat, as traditional shooting guard Eddie Jones was operating as his fellow backcourt teammate. As a 22-year-old, Wade had a solid rookie season as he averaged 16 points, 4.5 assists, and 4 rebounds on 46.5% shooting. It is worth mentioning that his assist-to-turnover ratio wasn't all that great, which was one of the first major indicators that he was likely out of position by starting at point guard. Fortunately, Miami made the adjustment, as he was then starting as shooting guard for his sophomore season. But that wasn't the only major change for the Miami Heat in Wade's second year. In an absolute blockbuster trade, the Heat acquired Shaquille O'Neal from the Los Angeles Lakers, solidifying a contending tandem in Miami. Right as the Diesel arrived, Wade conveniently took his game to the next level, as he put up averages of 24, 7, and 5 in his second year in the league. Now the speed and explosiveness of Wade was fully on display, as he was quickly putting everyone on notice that he was one of the best slashers in the game. Along with that, Wade began to stand out defensively, as he's one of the greatest shot-blocking guards in the history of the NBA, right there with Michael Jordan. In fact, Wade has the most blocked shots in NBA history by any player who was 6'4 or shorter, and honestly, it isn't even close, as the nearest defender is the Celtics Hall of Famer Dennis Johnson, who was behind Wade by more than 200 blocks. For his career, Wade made a total of 3 All-Defense teams, and frankly, this is one of the biggest reasons why I believe the comparisons to James Harden are so insane, because Wade was an all-time great two-way player, while Harden is completely a one-way player, who isn't even elite offensively in the postseason. On the other hand, the postseason...
Come on, bro. I said that earlier. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning of the video, I was fake tired when I said it, but yeah. You know what I'm saying? My son D Wade does his thing. Even those years with LeBron, bro. Wade never really choked up like that. You know what I'm saying? Wade played his part. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing. Or, like, Harden was never getting to the finals, never, you know what I'm saying, winning finals. He wasn't, you know what I'm saying, Wade and Harden are on 2 different levels, in my opinion, you know.
Season is where Wade made a name for himself and earned the respect of the basketball world. After nearly reaching the NBA Finals in 2005, Wade and the Heat broke through in 2006, squaring off with Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks. After falling behind 0-2 in the series, Wade went on an absolute tear, leading the Heat to win the next 4 games straight, with some of the greatest finals performances of league history. Now, many claim that this...
So he ain't just go crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was some of the best performances ever in the finals. You know what I'm saying?
series was rigged due to the insane amount of free throws that Wade shot throughout the series, especially in Game 5, where Wade alone took as many free throws as the entire Mavericks team. With that being said, there is the argument that Wade was simply the most aggressive player on the court, and his constant driving to the basket warranted that many free throw attempts. Regardless of where you stand on this topic, it's indisputable that Wade took his game to the next level when the games mattered the most, and because of this, he was rewarded with his first and only Finals MVP of his career. This was obviously the height of Wade's career as a superstar, but what many people forget is that things were quite rough for him after this point for a couple of seasons. Starting in the 06 to 07 season, Wade started
I started sending one of the videos prior when it was, I think it was a Heat debate or a Heat video or something like that. I'm pretty
having
sure
serious shoulder injuries. After he dislocated his shoulder in February of 2007, it would never stop to be a reoccurring issue that would flare up if he wasn't careful. On top of that, his knee started to become an issue as well, which began to hinder some of his quickness and explosiveness. Following the championship run in 2006, his career turned into a bit of a roller coaster, as he was clearly one of the best players in the league, but he was also missing a significant amount of each season, thanks to his shoulder issues and his knee surgery.
I didn't know about his injuries and things of that nature. I wasn't too knowledgeable on that topic, so
injuries.
Here you go.
Many people believe these injuries kept Wade from taking his career to the next level, but no one believes that more than Dwyane Wade himself, who was on record saying that he would have been in the GOAT conversation if it wasn't for the injuries. After some turmoil, Wade finally had a mostly healthy year, which was the 08 to 09 regular season, and on an individual level, it was almost certainly the greatest season of his career, as he averaged a league-leading 30 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on 49% shooting. With a subpar supporting cast, Wade was able to lead his team to a playoff berth, and although LeBron James won the regular season MVP that year, many people believed that it should have gone to Wade. Although he had already pushed through some career-altering injuries that LeBron James supporting cast, Wade was able to lead his team to a playoff berth. And although LeBron James won the regular season MVP that year, many people believed that it should have gone to Wade. Although he had already pushed through some career-altering injuries.
I know one of y'all remember these times. This was before my time for real. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really watching. I was like 6 years old. So yeah, someone let me know the seedings, you know what I'm saying? Because that might have played, that plays a big role usually. You know what I'm saying? That Bron and them was, you know what I'm saying, top 3 seeds, and the Heat just barely made the playoffs, and that probably is a telling reason, you know?
Flash displayed some of his best abilities this season. Many people have seemed to have forgotten just how great Wade was when it came to finishing around the rim. Nowadays, a lot of people argue whether Michael Jordan or Kyrie Irving have the greatest layup package of all time, but Wade certainly belongs in that conversation, as his acrobatic conversions were basically a nightly occurrence in his prime. With Shaq's departure long in the past, and with just a mediocre supporting cast, Wade wouldn't be competing for championships again until the 2010 to 2011 season. That was when one of the most famous super teams in NBA history took shape. The Big Three Heat of Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh took the basketball world by storm and had championship expectations immediately thrust upon them. Although they got off to a slow start in the regular season, they eventually hit their stride and made it all the way to the 2011 NBA Finals in their first year together as teammates. Now you all know what happened in those 2011 Finals. Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks shockingly upset the Big Three Heat, while LeBron James had one of the worst playoff series of his entire career. But here's the thing, guess who was easily the best player on the court during that series? It obviously wasn't LeBron, and regardless of the fact that he was the Finals MVP, it wasn't Dirk Nowitzki either. The player who stood out with the best individual numbers was clearly Dwyane Wade. And if LeBron James had just had a regular performance by his standards, then Dwyane Wade would have 4 rings and 2 Finals MVPs in his career, rather than 3 and 1. This was the only season where it was a debate on whether this was Wade's team or LeBron's. After that, the Heat went on to win 2 championships in the next 3 years, as they made it all the way to the NBA Finals in all 4 years of the Big Three Heat's existence. Although Wade played a part in the franchise record 27-game winning streak, and although he won 2 championships as a teammate of LeBron, there was no question that Wade was the second best player on the team at that point in his career. After LeBron James left in free agency to return to Cleveland, Wade was able to remain somewhat competitive, as he was about a 20 points per game scorer for 3 seasons afterwards. But at that point, it was rather clear that Wade's top 10 player days were long behind him, and in 2019, at the age of 37, he decided to call it quits, retiring comfortably as one of the greatest 2 guards that the league has ever seen. In the totality of his career, he was a 3-time NBA champion, the 2006 Finals MVP, a 13-time All-Star, he made 8 All-NBA teams, 3 All-Defense teams, was the 2009 scoring champion, and is one of the 75 greatest players of all time. So in conclusion, just how good was Dwyane Wade really? Well, if I'm being honest, I feel like Wade had a bit of a weird career. Arguably, the very peak of his career happened in only his 3rd season, and I really felt like his prime didn't last very long, because throughout his mid to late 20s, he was on and off of the basketball court with some serious career-altering injuries.
Yeah, that's crazy to know, like, D-Wade probably would have been even tougher, you heard? Like, he probably would have lasted a little longer, all that, like, wow, I didn't know he was getting injured, you know what I'm saying? In those 5 years a lot before LeBron had got to the Heat. You know what I'm saying? I ain't know.
With that being said, I definitely don't agree with Wade that he would have been in the GOAT conversation without the injuries. I think that's a bit too much. But at the very least, maybe the gap between him and Kobe wouldn't be as significant. Regardless, he's easily my choice as the 3rd greatest shooting guard of all time. And the recent comparisons to James Harden are straight up disrespectful.
That's what I was saying, bro. That's what I was saying. Like, in my head, I'm thinking this whole time, like Harden's not really even in a Wade's league. Like, bro was about to say, like, that's not even really a comparison, bro. Like, Harden, you know what I'm saying? He never even been to a finals. Well, he has. I think with the Thunder. The Thunder been to a finals, right? Yeah. But besides that, you know what I'm saying, this is when he wasn't really who he is as a player. You know what I'm saying? It's not a comparison, bro. It's definitely not. You know what I'm saying? Harden is a great offensive power. You know what I'm saying? Offensive prowess, I guess you could say. But in terms of anything else, bro, nah. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments, though. That's where we going to end it off. Turn on post notifications. 93% of y'all not subscribed. Hit that subscribe, bro, my brothers and sisters. Share the video with your people, social media platforms. And I'm out of here, man.